Alright guys, and welcome back to the Metroid Prime 2 Let's Play. Last time we met in Metroid Prime 2, if I'm thinking correctly, this is actually the beginning of a session, knowing me, but last time we met in Metroid Prime 2, we arrived to the Agon Wastes and met U-Mos, so now we are actually going to be exploring the Agon Wastes and looking for, well, collectibles. So right now, if you're wondering why I was just standing there and then got into the scan visor for some reason, that was me trying to gain a whatchamacallit, gain, regain my balance in terms of where what's the word, composure. Sorry, I was trying to remember exactly where I was in the walkthrough that I was reading, because in all honesty, the walkthrough I was reading is not a particularly great one, because it uses specific language, but the problem is that it reading it makes it seem pretty vague, in all honesty. Like, if you don't know Metroid Prime 2's map that well, or layout of every room that well, you're gonna have a hard time understanding what the fuck the guy's talking about. Like, let me see if I can find an excerpt of it real quick, because I have it pulled up on my other screen here. Trying to see. Right here, there's one right here. It says, jump out of the water in the next room and enter a new area. And that's in relation to Torvus Bog. There's a lot of areas where you jump out of water, so it just kind of made it seem vague. At least, that's at least me personally. And again, keep in mind that I'm switching my head back and forth, making sure that I'm following the guide to the letter, because I don't want to miss anything. Now, logbook entries, I'm not like 100% hell-bent on them. If I miss a logbook entry, I miss a logbook entry. There's nothing I can do about it, especially if it's one that I can't go back for, like a boss fight mainly. And I have to say, Prime 2 is actually pretty good about not having scan entries that are one-offs, if that makes sense, besides boss battles, because obviously once you defeat the boss once, you can't refight it. There's no way to refight a boss battle. But for the most part, I can't really think of any enemies or devices that disappear after a certain time, because I know in Metroid Prime, in the original GameCube release, Ice Shriek bats went away after a certain point in the game, after you made a certain amount of progression in the game, and that was one thing that a lot of people cried foul about, which I don't blame them, because it really just doesn't make sense for them to just suddenly disappear. Because if I remember correctly, back in Metroid Prime trilogy, for Prime 1, the Ice Shriek bats don't disappear at all, and that's because the Prime Trilogy version is based off of the PAL release, which is basically the British release. I have my copy of Metroid Prime with me. I wonder what version I have. I wish this stupid fucking sticker wasn't on it. I need to take that off. So I'm actually kind of curious what version of Prime 1 I have. Oh, well, fuck. Let's see. Doesn't say, does it? I thought it could have sworn it says something about like how you know which version of the game you have. I mean, I'm sure there's a way I can look it up. Where's my browser? Click on the data. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking for a 2-digit number on the data on the disk. I cannot read it. Oh, by the way, we're dealing with the Bomb Guardian now. So I think it says 00. So I have the original North American version. And there are some differences, because the thing about, retro games, especially GameCube games and before, back then, I know this is going to make me sound old as shit, but there was a time where game developers couldn't just patch out bugs and glitches. They had to re-release the game with different discs. But it says that I have it says I have 00. So I'm kind of curious. Prime 1 version differences. So I have the early versions where I can do certain sequence breaks and glitches, so I could probably do the scan jump and stuff like that. Oh, thank you, WikiDroid. So 0, 1, or the player's choice version has some differences, meaning that there's an invisible wall. There's an invisible wall placed over the runic gate at the top of the arboretum, or something like that. There's a soft lock in the research core access that was removed. Carrie Ann Odom's name was fixed in the credits for the Player's Choice version 2. I don't know why I'm talking about Prime 1 when we're playing Prime 2. Where is the... Hold on, let me see if I can find the Prime 2 differences. Prime 2. So, some of the differences in the versions of Prime 2, in the PAL version, the font in Samus's data screen is bolded and the time elapsed display has changed. It is no longer to slope jump from the half pipe in the meeting grounds onto the top of the wasp nests at the top of the wasp nest, as the dimensions of the structure were changed. The ink sphere cache and in the venomous pond near the save station used to obtain the third Dark Temple key is in Torvus Bog without the grapnel beam is removed. And then the Japanese has a lot of differences too. The game's title for one in Japan is Dark Echoes. I don't know why they changed it. The Nintendo logo is blue in the Japanese version for some reason. press start and the copyright year are added to the title screen. I'm just going to keep going. The music played when acquiring the energy transfer module or a Dark Temple key is different. It is no longer possible to boost through the bottom right corner of the second and third Luminoth webbings, which resulted in the webs disappearing and the sack suspended in midair. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. It is no longer possible to bypass having to drop the first and second lenses in the portal terminal, where the only third lens was needed to trigger the cutscene that powers up the portal. What? Oh, are they talking about the Agon Wastes portal we're about to get? Or not in this part, maybe next part. The Jump Guardian's invisible preloaded form can no longer be damaged before the fight when it begins, as it only lands after the cutscene. It is no longer possible to stand on top of the laser that leads to the Grapple Guardian's late room. The glitch where Samus receives a massive boost in jumping height by standing in dark water before shooting off the last part that keeps the Chica larva attached to the wall is fixed. My god, there's a lot. And I guess I should get into the Wii version, so you guys know what's going on. So the Wii version of Prime 2, it's pretty obvious what those differences are. The game supports a 16:9 widescreen. Multiplayer runs at 60 FPS in 3 or 4 players instead of 30, and charge beams and graphical effects are retained in 2-player. New clips are present in the attract mode, which I'm assuming is a little interlude whenever you don't press the start button. The Samus data screen is redesigned so that it's more, the interface is more like Metroid Prime 3. There are 3 difficulty levels in the Prime Trilogy version: normal, veteran, hard. Normal difficulty is new and easier, while veteran reproduces the normal difficulty in the original GameCube release. And then hard is requires beating the game. So yeah, veteran mode in Prime 2. So yeah, technically I'm playing veteran mode on the Wii version. Just want to mention that. When starting from a previous save, logbook scan. Oh yeah, that's New Game Plus essentially. Bonus material is unlocked. I already know that. The game, yeah, it's the same thing. The sight window is circular instead of rectangular. Doors open much faster with no likelihood of crashing. Oh, that's scary. The names of the beams will not show up on the map screen legend until the beam is acquired. The light and dark beam's positions on the HUD have been swapped. The dark beam now appears on the left-hand side of the rightmost missile bar, and the light beam appears on the right. These positions are also reflected when charging beams. The charge meter that fills up as the charge beam is being charged is removed. The 4 lights on the top of Samus's HUD that indicate the estimated battery life of the Wii Remote. Some Luminoth lore locations have been changed. Logbook entries for light and dark portals can be scanned from any active portal, not just portals generated by fixed machines. Locked doors will resemble white hatches rather than appearing de-energized. Damage incurred while touching from the Boost Guardian. Oh, fuck you, Wii version! Damage incurred from touching the Boost Guardian in its amorphous state is reduced, meaning that it's easier. God damn it. Yeah, because I will mention, I already fought the Boost Guardian at the time I was recording, and I died like 4 times. Fuck the Boost Guardian, by the way. The Spider Guardian's hitbox is smaller, granting Samus some more protection through walls. The zoom text is removed from the HUD, though zooming is still possible. When the Ink Smashers in the Hall of Combat Mastery awaken, the doors will lock until they are defeated. A message no longer appears when picking up Samus's first power bomb ammo. Worker Splinters will still appear in the GFMC compound upon revisits, scavenging the trooper corpses. Additionally, the bodies of defeated Dark Troopers in this room will no longer remain. When entering a Phazon-rich area inhabited by Dark Talon Metroids, the Impact Crater theme from Metroid Prime will play. The theme played during an energy controller restoration cutscene is extended instead of simply looping. The theme for the Dark Troopers is altered and now plays every time they show up. The Ing Battle theme plays in the training chamber with the Boglings when the Boglings become Dark Blogs. Main Gyro Chamber will play the elevator theme until gyroscopic rings are deactivated. The Emperor Ing's final form no longer has a small spot vulnerable to the screw attack. Furthermore, its logbook entry has been updated, fully replacing the bonus disc entry. Oh, that's for the new play control. That's like the... Because I believe the new play control Prime 2 is Japan exclusive. Yeah, that's Japan exclusive. So there is a Wii version of Prime 2 alone, but it's Japanese. But but all those changes I just mentioned all carry over to Prime Trilogy, because I do know that. By the way, hard mode is renamed hyper mode for Prime Trilogy, and the title screen is replaced. But I do know that the Boost Guardian is easier in the Prime Trilogy version, because I played the Prime Trilogy version more than this version. And I will say that I had little to no issue with the Boost Guardian in the Trilogy version, which is why I really wanted to do the Trilogy version for this Let's Play, because I feel like there's some other quality of life updates that I'm just not that maybe I'm just not seeing, because that maybe I'm just, maybe it's a Mandela effect, because there are other certain things about Prime Trilogy that make it so much about Prime Trilogy version of Metroid Prime 2 that I feel like I'm just going crazy if I'm not right. But I might, but it could be just a Mandela effect sort of thing. And that's not to say that I can't play Prime 2 at all on the GameCube version, because clearly I'm doing it now. And in all honesty, I'm not having many problems. I mean, the only major issue I've run into throughout this Let's Play is the Boost Guardian. But then again, I haven't gotten to the Spider Guardian yet. I mean, I do take a bit of an embarrassingly long time to defeat this Grapple Guardian, and that's because I just straight up forgot how to do it. Because, again, while I've played this game before on the Wii version, and I have played it before in general, that doesn't mean I remember it. Oh, that's unfortunate. So, yeah, it turns out the space pirates are also being possessed by dark energy. I don't know how else to phrase that. But, what was I saying? But, basically, I've gone over this before. The dark versions of enemies are exactly the same. God damn, I suck at evading. Like, I am not even trying to evade, am I? What was I saying? The dark versions of enemies, they're exactly the same. They're just more aggressive, and I think they do a little bit more damage. So, just keep that in mind. There's a scan entry. Go down. You walk right past it. No. Turn around. Turn around. Okay, okay. That's step one. Now go to the left. The left. Also, I know this is going to sound weird, but I'm like one of those few people who don't use the Morph Ball that often to navigate through for Metroid Prime. I never do. I know that some people say that, walking, using the Morph Ball is faster than walking, and that is true, I will say that. But the reason I don't is because, with the Morph Ball, you have very limited ways of defending yourself while in Morph Ball. While, when you're, walking, you can just, shoot. You can just shoot. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, now we're actually solving a puzzle to get that portal activated. Because we're actually about to start exploring Dark Aether. Well, technically we've been to Dark Aether before when, we first met Dark Samus and she took all of our upgrades. Or, well, that wasn't her, it was more the Ing did that, but you get what I mean. But, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing right now, is we're just kind of solving this puzzle. This puzzle isn't that hard. We're just aligning these solar panels here, and all you have to do is just Morph Ball Bomb a couple of those red things that I already Morph Ball Bombed one. By the way, I love how Samus just, like, teleported to the right location for that. She just snapped right into place, which I found funny. But I know I make quite a few people's eyebrows raise when I tell them that Metroid Prime 2 is my least favorite, like, one of my least favorite Metroid games. And I'm not saying that Metroid Prime 2 is bad, mind you. In fact, I can't really think of any bad Metroid games in all honesty. You know, I know some people like to say Other M is the worst game in this whole franchise, but like it's terrible. But I've never thought Other M was terrible. I thought it was actually a good game. Now the story is another can of worms I don't feel like getting into. Maybe when I do its an eventual Let's Play. Probably I'll do that one soon because I really do want it. I actually really do like. There are a few things about Other M's story I do like. But again, I don't want to get into those until we do the Other M Let's Play. But I do like Other M. I do think Other M is a fun game. In terms of gameplay especially, I think Other M is really fun. Yeah, it's linear as shit, but it's still fun, and I do enjoy it. You know, it's one of those, it's like, I don't know how to word this. It's like one of those games where, like, I know I feel like I shouldn't like this one, but I do. It's a guilty pleasure, I guess. But like, I don't hate Prime 2. I don't go, like, if someone mentions Prime 2, I'm not gonna go, oh god. I'll just be like, alright, I mean, I understand you like it. I don't, but I'll move on. Like, I don't think there's any Metroid game that I outright hate, to my recollection. Like, in terms of, like, you know, if I had to Let's Play it, I would do everything to avoid it. I don't think I can think of a single Metroid game that I would do that to. Like, Metroid 1 and 2, maybe. Original versions. Like, the original NES and Game Boy versions, yes. But that's because of archaic design choices, and I don't feel like wasting your fucking time. But, like, Federation Force, I never played it. And that wasn't like, I'm not saying I never played it because, oh, I was being spiteful and shit. I just never really wanted, for one, I don't have friends to play Federation Force with. I don't have any friends to do that with. None of them who are interested in Metroid anyway. I don't, and that's the same reason for Hunters too. I'd never played Hunters. One, because I can never find a fucking copy, and I do want to play it single player, but not in a rush for that. Plus, I don't really care about Prime Hunters, because really the only thing I need to know about it at this point is that Psylux exists, because of Prime 4. But, I mean, I can't really think of a Metroid game that I actively hate. Because I can't think of one. I mean, I can think of a Sonic game I actively hate. You know, huge example is Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric. I mean, that's just a stereotypical answer, though. If you really want a non-stereotypical answer of a Sonic game that I truly hate, I don't hate Forces that much, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I don't particularly enjoy Forces, but I don't hate it. I don't hate Superstars either, in all honesty. I don't like the boss battles in Superstars because they drag the fuck on. But can't think of anything. I know there's a Sonic game I do hate. I just can't remember it. Maybe I'm trying to repress it. I know it. I know someone's probably thinking, "Oh, it's Sonic 06." I'm like, no, it's not. It's not 06. It's not Sonic and the Secret Rings, because I remember saying at the end of the Let's Play I actually did like it, or not liked it, but you know, I don't hate it as much as I used to. I guess you could say Shadow the Hedgehog. I didn't like Shadow the Hedgehog that much. I don't like Shadow the Hedgehog that much, despite my love of the character. I don't really like Shadow the Hedgehog, the game. I remembered it. Sonic Labyrinth. I genuinely hate that game. And I mean, it's not because of the whole, like, oh, it's Sonic but slow. No, that's the least of that game's problems. That's the least of that game's problems. I still can't get over the plot where basically Eggman breaks into Sonic's house and steals his fucking shoes. Out of everything he could have done, he steals his shoes? What the hell? You know, that is your arch nemesis, and the only thing you're gonna do to him when you break into his house is steal his shoes? You know, what the fuck? There are so many other things you could be doing with him. No, why don't you just break his fucking legs? I would have accepted that. Just break his fucking legs or something. Like, I know that Eggman's not gonna straight up murder Sonic, even though Mephiles did that in Sonic 06. So I don't put it past Sega to do a game where they murder Sonic. Oh wait, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. But but like, for Christ's sake, Eggman, you know that that's your arch nemesis, right? And all you're gonna do is steal his fucking shoes. Fuck off. But no, I can't really think of a. But again, I can't think of a single Metroid game I hate, despite my initial like. Despite like me saying that I don't enjoy Prime 2 as much as, Prime 1, Super, or anything like that, I don't hate this game. I just think that there are some structural issues that I have that hold it back for me and makes it one of those games that I don't really like revisiting that often. But, that's just my personal opinion. I know that there are some people who say that this is the best Metroid game or best of the Prime series. Until, maybe we'll find out what happens. Maybe, hopefully, Prime 4 isn't bad. I doubt it will be, Fingers crossed that it's not. But, I mean, that's besides the point. So, but I don't want to get into a huge thing here because the part's already long as it is. But I'll see you guys next time for more Metroid Prime 2, where we finally started exploring Dark Aether, and I did not explain a goddamn thing about it because I forgot to, and I was talking about some other stuff. But I will explain what Dark Aether is and what its problems are next part. So see you guys next time for Metroid Prime 2, and take care.